Fall of Civilizations podcast is a historical podcast looking at the collapse of a different civilization in each episode. What did they have in common? Why did they fall? And what did it feel like to watch it happen? I discovered this podcast years ago, probably the first months of the lockdowns, and I just was opened up to a brand new world of history storytelling in with these podcasts because what Fall of Civilizations does is that they cover everything. In fact, their latest episodes are on Bagan, Egypt, Carthage, and what we're talking about in this video, we are talking about the fall of the Aztec Empire. Now, let me just tell you guys right now why we're doing this video. This particular podcast on this particular subject is very special to me. This is one where I go back a few times every year to listen to. It is 4 hours long. It is so in depth, so much detail, so much expertise put into this podcast that I often refer to it to other people who are history buffs, Mexican American history, Mexico history. This is a podcast you need to do. So I will say I'm also a Patreon member to Follow Podcast, and I want to scroll on down to go to uh, the one about the Aztec Empire. Let's just start there. Well, this particular episode opens with the sounds of a 1978 Mexican City worker jackhammering the asphalt, only to discover an Aztec artifact. And in that year, they being the Mexican government, end up commandeering 13 city blocks that become a historical landmark site. There you go. Excavating the 3 meter, I guess, diameter of Coyoshauqui stone that opens the episode, depicting the mythical being Coyoshauqui, dismembered, and decapitated. It was rediscovered in 1978. And that's how Paul Cooper, the host of Fall of Civilizations, starts off with. But then he goes 66 million years back to the evolution of Mexico and the Mexican Valley. Yeah, he takes it there. He talks about the history of the people there as in regards to the Mexicas as nomads. He also does a quick kingdom wrap up on Mayan and Toltec, giving the backgrounds that lead up to the this historical times. Historical texts they drew from and what they related to, and then also too in this amazing podcast, he brings in a Nahuatl expert, Jan Gomez. He brings in a lot of people. And then what's truly amazing is that they spend about an hour and a half, the first hour and a half, guys, laying all the groundwork, historical, social, political way of life in Mexico City, or excuse me, the Valley of Mexico, the lakes. And really, we start there from the 1300s to the 1520s is the dramatic rise and fall of the Aztec Empire, uh, and how the Mexicas came to be to the valley. I mean, it's just so sweeping. Here's an image in regards to some of the inventions of the Aztecs at that time, as far as far as toys for children. The Aztec used wheels in children's toys, such as small wheeled dogs made of pottery or occasional obsidian, yet never considered using wheels for transportation technology. A cart would have been next to useless in Mesoamerica for a start. Who or what would have pulled it? The Aztecs had no large pack animals, and the human porters were more efficient in carrying individual packs over a large distance. The earliest known wheeled animal figure came from the classical period, roughly 300 900 years AD, found in the Huastec region of the Gulf of Mexico lowlands, whereas most date from the post classic. And this is also fascinating as well, because in that time, right before we get to the the history of the, I would say, was it 9 kings of the Aztecs from 1300s to 1521? Right at the end of that part 1, that hour and a half, really hour and 40 minutes, Paul Cooper stops and he talks about a controversial issue, in regards to why the Aztecs lost, and basically surmised it as the Americas, the people of the Americas were basically 3 to 4,000 years behind in their Afro and Eurasian counterparts. And it's true, and that's why they didn't have the wheel, because they didn't even have those large animals there. They had no horses, they had no cows, they had no oxen. So he brings all this up. It truly paints the entire world that if you were a person who was Nahuatl or Mexico or other member of other indigenous there, you really get a full sense of their life. So let's see what else we got here in regards to some of his postings. A reconstruction of the Tenochtitlan's Templo Mayor, showing the Russian doll effect of its previous layers. This is fantastic. Aztec temples were typically expanded by building over prior ones, using the bulk of the former as a base for the latter. As latter rulers sought to expand the temple to reflect the growing greatness of the city of Tenochtitlan, therefore, digging down through this temple takes us back in time. The first temple was begun by the Aztecs the year they founded the city, and the temple was rebuilt 6 times. All 7 stages of the Templo Mayor, except the first, have been excavated and assigned to the regions of the emperors who were responsible for them. So, like the city that grew to inhabit 200,000 people in its city, and had irrigation, had aqueducts, great inventions. This was only done within a period of time of little more than 200 years, and then at that time there was no other city like it. Definitely in the Americas and in a lot of Europe. So yeah, just uh, just fascinating posts. And what I want to go now, let's go to videos. And what I what I was fascinated with as well is the, let's see here, is the storytelling. See, it's breathtaking. In what Paul and his production do with this story. So, like I said, like that first hour and a half, it's talking about now we lay our scene. What was the history? Um, he talks about prophecy even 10 years before Cortez shows up, is that a comet ran through the sky at that point, and it was prophesized as an omen that some big change was coming. Yeah, just I cannot recommend, the podcast as a whole, and and in particular this episode. So we go then to the quick history of of the Aztecs, right? And like I was telling you, how it became the greatest city of that time. Now the Mexicas were um, a group of nomads, of brutes. They were hired mercenaries by the time they got to the Mexico City Valley. And Aztecs derives from the word, the mythical place that they were from, Aslan, but they'll call themselves Mexica. And in 1418, when they were building their city, they created stone aqueducts, dams, farming, and even districtized, the city. Also, too, we got to see the reality of the city. We got to note who did the artwork, the artistry, all the different inventions that they had, from winemaking to zoos, details in everyday life, and their work was incredible. Uh, what's really cool as well is that we get to hear Aztec riddles, Aztec poetry, and in Nahuatl as well. Now, he does not step away from the dark side of the society, talking about religion and sacrifice, and in cases, human sacrifices. He goes into full description on warrior society, status, and upward mobility, and the battle for the Aztec identity became one of that of there was kings who wanted to go away from the warrior sacrifice identity and ones that wanted to double down. Well, we know who won. So he mentions several kings of note and doesn't minimize, the place of that, and in world history as well. So again, the actual fall of the Aztec Empire, 1519 to 1521, when Cortez gets there. By the time we are there in our story, which is basically the last hour and a half of this 4 hour, just insanely a brilliant podcast, you understand, you totally get why the Aztecs failed and how they almost didn't, which is just incredible because again, you're coming up against a society as far as the Spaniards that had the ship, that had the guns, that had the horses, and that had and then eventually had an army. But really, it's that technology that did the Aztecs in. You get it all. They don't spare anyone. It's a very fair and just a great look at everything in the society and their eventual downfall. Also, too, you get to see the legacy of Cortez, Malinche, Moctezuma, and a kind of a quick wrap up of where where Tenochtitlan became Mexico City and its descendants, because again, this is about the fall of that particular civilization. So, um, absolutely a must for history people, for people that are into Latino history, and of course, uh, just Mexican American knowledge at this really what Paul calls probably one of the greatest historical events to ever happen, definitely in the Americas. And I highly recommend it. And it's something that I'm very happy to finally share with you guys because, like I said, this particular episode was from 2019. So I've been, just loving this for years now. And what's wonderful about the fall of conquest, the fall of civilizations in general, is that they only do 1 to 2 podcasts a year. They really put in the work from this visual presentation and commentary to actors and experts and knowledge. So I want to know what you guys think. Have you guys ever checked out Fall of Civilization and your interest in the fall of the Aztec Empire? Let me know right now. Comment and please do me a favor. Subscribe to the channel and watch our videos. Just by watching our videos, You're helping us out. You're helping keep the lights on. All right. Well, that is my recommendation. And here on the Latino Slant, we're happy to share with you the Aztec Empire, the fall of the Aztec Empire. Wherever you're at, keep that slant fuerte. Gracias.